The Sandinistas were members of a leftist coalition that overthrew the Nicaraguan dictatorship of Anastasio Somoza in 1979. The Sandinistas, also known as La Frente Sandinista de Liberación Nacional, attempted to establish a socialist economy on Nicaragua. The Sandinistas, though, have carried out many human rights violations. Among these were the systematic violations against Nicaraguan Jews, where their property has been confiscated and they have endured physical harassment. Other violations include the censorship of the church and the assassination or kidnapping of opponents to the Sandinista government.
We're here with Mayor Bernard Sanders to talk a little bit about his recent trip to Nicaragua. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. I think maybe a good way to start is to ask you when you first became interested in Central American issues.
I don't know. Ever since I was a kid, for some strange reason, I was always interested in the problems of Latin America and had done some reading about it as a young person and in college.
Do you find that the people of Nicaragua are relatively sophisticated in their political views?
Oh, I mean, when you talk politics in Nicaragua, it is not like talking politics in the United States. You know, people are saying, well, gee, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. I probably won't vote. Or I saw a commercial on television last night. Maybe I'll vote for that, good 30-second commercial. In Nicaragua, what you're talking about is life and death. It is a question of whether their children are going to have any kind of dignity or not. When they tell you, and I would ask these questions, are you frightened about the possibility of a United States invasion? And their response was, we have been through so much. We've had to fight for so long that we don't want a United States invasion. Believe me, they're not macho types. Hey, we're going to take on the United States Marines. No problem. They do not say that. They understand what they're up against. But I think when President Reagan tells the people of Nicaragua, and he said this many months ago, he says, basically, if you get down on your hands and knees and you cry, uncle, remember that? This is wonderful diplomatic relationship. This is the way that our government deals with the third world. If you cry, uncle, in other words, if you say that we in America, the United States, are going to be the boss, we'll let you survive. You can't say that to these people. And I think where there may be confusion, it's a funny thing, you talk about, does the Sandinista government have political support? Well, as I indicated, in an election, they got 63% of the vote, a little bit more than Ronald Reagan got, It would be like saying, does Ronald Reagan have political support? Well, if you say that half the people in America did not vote for anybody for president, and of those who voted, Reagan got 60% of the vote, that suggests that he has about 30% of the support of the American people. If you go around into communities, like in Burlington, Vermont, where he was overwhelmingly defeated, go to Harlem, where 80 or 90% of the people did not support him. Does he have overwhelming support? He has the support. And where there's also, I think, confusion on the part of some people in the United States is even people who voted against the Sandinista government. They voted for somebody else for president. Do you think that means that they're going to support an invasion of their own country? I mean, it's like saying, I voted against Ronald Reagan. That does not mean to say that I want to see an invasion of this United States to get rid of Ronald Reagan. And I think many people in Nicaragua feel the same way. They say, hey, I don't like the Sandinista government, but don't invade our country. We're going to have to stand with them because we're an independent people.
How do the Nicaraguans perceive the American people?
That's a totally unbelievable phenomenon, which I quite frankly cannot understand and comprehend. I remember talking to their foreign minister, Father Descoto, and he was very clear that they are trying very, very hard to hold down anti-Americanism, and they are succeeding. As an American going there, I was treated with a great deal of friendliness, and I think it's not just because I was a quote-unquote dignitary. They feel much more closely aligned with the United States. Now, Ronald Reagan may be successful in doing something which is, in fact, very hard to do, but he may, in fact, be successful in driving this country, which wants to be close to the United States, into the arms of the Soviet Union. I mean, if he invades that country, if he tries to destroy that nation, he may bring about the impossible, is make them into a rigid communist country aligned with the Soviet Union. It will be very hard to do, but his policies are leading us in that direction. Everything being equal, they would like to have a warm relationship to the United States, and they like American people. They do not hold the average American responsible for what Reagan is doing.